thanks for coming back for another Pixie Talks review vlog.
Pixie Talks, reviews and vlogs at Pixie Talks.
So last week I talked about some of my favorite heroic characters, but there was a problem with that list. It was all dudes. So it's time to talk about some of the most awesome and amazing leading ladies in fiction. Let's get feminist. These are the ladies who inspire me and make me proud to be a woman. Top 5 favorite heroines.
I am Daenerys Stormborn of the blood of old Valyria, and I will take what is mine. With fire and blood, I will take it.
This is probably going to be the closest thing I will ever get to actually reviewing Game of Thrones. Daenerys Targaryen is totally my favorite part of the show, and is a character that I absolutely love. In a world filled to the brim with morally gray characters who are mostly out for themselves and have extreme ways of dealing with their harsh environment, there are few characters who are truly noble and good, and Daenerys is one of them. But unlike some of the others, she also actually has the grit and inner strength to claw her way to the top, still holding on to her ideals. But she didn't begin the series very empowered, and it was breathtaking to see her character growth into a woman of power and authority. She struggles, she makes mistakes, and she learns and grows. And through it all, she developed into one of the most leader-like characters in the entire show, and honestly, in almost any story I've ever seen or read. Dany needs to become a cultural phenomenon right away. And by the statistics for how many babies were named Khaleesi this last year, it appears that she is. But if you make the habit of referring to her by her title instead of her name, we probably can't be friends. Cheat a little bit here by leaving the realms of television and delving a little bit into literature. It's unfortunate that Hollywood is still so uncomfortable with empowered female characters, but there are tons of them in writing. And for my favorite epic heroine, we must turn to the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. Tolkien isn't known for writing too many female characters. The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings are notorious for having few to none. But my favorite work by Tolkien features one of the best female characters, Luthien. The Lay of Luthien is a glorious epic tale of romance and adventure. Despite being a quest story wherein the hero is sent to win the fair maiden's hand via great deeds, this particular fair maiden is not content to stay at home and defies her father's wishes to rush to her lover's aid and ends up being the one to rescue him. And actually, Luthien is by far the more powerful of the two characters, though they both have different strengths. The couple is one of the most romantic and loving couples you will ever read, and both characters respect each other implicitly, and they conquer all of the odds side by side as equal partners.
Get away from her, you...
And then there's Ripley, one of my all-time favorite female badasses. The Alien films are all girl power all the time. You may be familiar with the plot line of these horror action sci-fi flicks. Monsters from space stalks and kills crew members, and it's up to Ripley to kill them and be one of the only lone survivors. Ripley owns these movies, and it's her that carries the action and rises to each and every challenge. It isn't that she's fearless. She's clearly not, and she spends most of the movies terrified out of her mind. But it's how she deals with fear that makes her amazing. She looks it right in the face and shoots it with a frickin' flamethrower. She's one of the best action heroes, period. She doesn't mess around, and she gets the job done. Ripley is a huge rarity in Hollywood, and it's hard to find other characters on her level. She's human, well-developed, relatable, and still a total badass. One of the best crafted female characters in any action movie ever. Let alone in the horror genre, where female characters rarely go beyond the dumb bimbo trope.
Shh!
Shure Hong reporting for duty, my lords.
Initiate Hong, some in this royal court suspect there was impropriety involved in you passing the national exams. Your response?
I will prove myself. I cannot afford to quit being an official, since as of yet I have not accomplished anything.
It is now noon.
And leaving the world of action heroes for a moment, Shure is one of the coolest anime characters ever. Now, she's not physically tough, that's not her department. No, Shure's world is the world of politics. She is a highly motivated, highly ambitious woman who forges ahead with her goals despite laws in place to keep women out of politics. She defies everyone's expectations and forces change in a system designed to force her out. In the beginning of the series, she is told she must become the Emperor's bride, uneasy into a life of luxury and pampered glamour. Instead, she rejects the Emperor and continues with her own goals, creating the change to the sexist system that she wanted to see. She remains emotionally unavailable to all of her male suitors throughout the course of the series because she's too focused on her career to think about settling down. Sure, she may leave the fighting in the series to the male characters, but that seems to be less because she's a girl and more just that she knows her own strengths and weaknesses and delegates accordingly. She's a political powerhouse and more than deserves her spot on this list.
And Uhura, whose name means freedom. She walks in beauty like the night.
And we end the list with Uhura. Star Trek forged a lot of television history, and Uhura is definitely a character worth talking about. From the first ever interracial kiss ever broadcast on television, to her calm and collected professionalism, to the social implications of a black woman being an officer on the bridge at all in a show run in the 60s. And her character was a wonderfully career-driven professional woman who still got to be human and developed. The original series treated her as an integral part of the workings of the crew, but it also delved into her personality and private desires. To this subject, the original series often hinted at a relationship between her and Spock, but it wasn't until the reboot that this was delivered on. And in the reboot, she's feisty and self-assured, and she flat out refuses the charms of Kirk in favor for Spock, showing ownership of her own relational life. This is a massive win on the fronts of both gender and racial equality. The character of Uhura is a social icon, and for numerous reasons. She made history, and she's still making it. It's unfortunate that while we have made progress, there are still very few women leading the narratives of Hollywood stories.
For crying out loud, what century are you living in?
These are some of the amazing heroines out there that stand as exceptions to the rule. But there are some amazing leading ladies out there, so let's be sure to celebrate them. And that's it for my video on my top 5 favorite heroines. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please be sure to subscribe for more. You can add me on Facebook and Twitter as well. And with that, I'll see you next week. Bye!